Welcome to The Secret Case. Today we will unravel the disturbing story of Albert Fish, a man who became one of the most feared and macabre serial killers in history. Known as the Brooklyn Vampire, Fish not only committed murders, but was also infamous for his horrific practices and penchant for cannibalism. In this video, we will explore his childhood, the horrendous crimes he committed, his capture, and the legacy he left behind. Before we begin, be sure to subscribe to The Secret Case for more shocking stories about dark criminals and historical events. Hit the bell to stay up to date with our new videos. Albert Hamilton Fish was born on May 16, 1877 in Washington, D.C. He was the youngest child of a family with a history of mental problems and a criminal record. From an early age, Fish showed signs of psychological problems that would mark his later life. His mother, who was ill, died when Fish was 5, leaving him in the care of his father and then in an orphanage. Fish's childhood was marked by physical and emotional abuse, as well as a dysfunctional home environment. During his time at the orphanage, Fish was subjected to abuse by other children, which some experts say may have influenced his psychological development. These traumatic experiences contributed to his growing interest in suffering and violence. In his teens, Fish began to display increasingly disturbing behavior. He developed a penchant for pain and self-flagellation, which led him to experiment with sadistic practices alone. The combination of his traumatic experiences and his disturbing behavior laid the groundwork for his future crimes. Beginning in the 1920s, Albert Fish began carrying out a series of crimes that made him infamous in criminal history. Fish was known for his particularly horrendous pattern of behavior, which included kidnapping, torture, and murder. His modus operandi included luring his victims, who were often children, under false pretenses and then carrying out his heinous acts. One of the most notorious cases involving Fish was the kidnapping and murder of 10-year-old Grace Budd. Fish had convinced the Budd family that he was going to hire Grace for a job at a party. Instead, Fish took her to his home, where he tortured and killed her. The brutality of this case left an indelible impression on the community and the authorities. Fish was also known for his practices of cannibalism. Fish's confessions at his trial revealed that he had eaten parts of his victims, an even more disturbing aspect of his crimes. This grotesque behavior distinguished him from other criminals and contributed to his nickname, the Brooklyn Vampire. Throughout his criminal career, Fish maintained a deceptive and calculating demeanor. Although he was known for his harmless appearance and gentle demeanor, behind this facade lurked a disturbed mind that was willing to carry out acts of extreme violence. Albert Fish's capture was the result of a persistent and meticulous investigation by the authorities. In 1934, the disappearance of Grace Budd and the subsequent investigation led investigators to discover the identity of the killer. Fish had left a number of clues and details that eventually led to his capture. Fish's capture was a complex process that involved a series of meticulous interviews and follow-ups. Authorities eventually obtained a detailed confession from Fish, which included chilling accounts of his crimes. His detailed and graphic statement provided authorities with a full understanding of the magnitude of his heinous acts. The trial of Albert Fish attracted a great deal of media attention due to the disturbing nature of his crimes. In 1935, Fish was convicted of his actions and sentenced to death. His trial and conviction were widely covered by the media, and the public was horrified by the details of his crimes. Fish was executed by electric chair on January 16, 1936 in New York State. His execution marked the end of a life marked by violence and disturbance, and his legacy of horror was etched into criminal history. The story of Albert Fish has left a lasting mark on popular culture and criminology. His life and crimes have been the subject of numerous studies and analyses, and his case has become an extreme example of psychopathic behavior. Fish has been a figure of interest in studies on psychopathy, cannibalism, and mental disorders. Fish's media notoriety and influence on popular culture have been significant. Her story has been covered in documentaries, films, and books, demonstrating the lasting impact of her legacy on society. The case of Albert Fish has served as a disturbing reminder of the human capacity for extreme evil. His story raises troubling questions about the psychology of crime and how personal and social factors can contribute to heinous behavior. Despite his execution, Fish's case continues to fascinate criminologists, psychologists, and the general public. The disturbing combination of his crimes and his behavior has made him a central figure in the study of criminal behavior. To fully understand the case of Albert Fish, it is essential to examine the psychological and criminological analysis surrounding his behavior. Psychologists have studied Fish as an exemplary case of psychopathy, highlighting his lack of empathy and his ability to carry out extreme acts of violence without remorse. Studies of Fish have revealed that his behavior was deeply influenced by his traumatic experiences and his environment. The combination of childhood abuse, social isolation, and sadistic behavior patterns contributed to his development as an extremely disturbing criminal. His story offers a disturbing insight into how psychological and environmental factors can interact to shape a criminal mind. In addition, Fish's case has been used in criminological studies to better understand the behavioral patterns of serial killers. Fish's methodology, which included kidnapping, torture, and cannibalism, provides an example of how some criminals evolve toward extreme forms of criminality. Analysis of his case has helped criminologists develop profiles of serial killers and better understand the motivations behind such crimes. Fish's legacy has also influenced the field of forensic criminology, with investigators using his case to improve investigative and profiling techniques. The complex nature of his crimes has prompted professionals to refine their methods for identifying and capturing criminals with similar patterns. The story of Albert Fish has also served as a case study for addressing ethical issues in criminology and psychology. Discussions about the way criminals are treated and the importance of early intervention have been enriched by analysis of Fish's case. The impact of her case on the study of criminology and psychology continues to be significant, providing valuable lessons on criminal behavior and prevention. Her story is a disturbing reminder of the complexity of the human mind and the importance of addressing psychological problems from an early age. The story of Albert Fish is one of the most disturbing in American crime history. His ability to commit such horrendous acts while maintaining a facade of normality reveals a disturbing facet of human nature. His legacy lives on in popular culture and remains a chilling reminder of how reality can surpass fiction in terms of horror and morbidity. If this story has impacted you and you want to know more about criminal cases and figures who have left a mark on history, subscribe to The Secret Case. What do you think of Albert Fish's influence on criminology and popular culture? Leave us your opinion in the comments.